Just left the gym, had a tough workout. Everything felt so super heavy today. But you know what I was thinking after my last hard set? We have this unique ability to pump our own tires in the right environment. When you're getting ready for that heavy set, one more rep, one more set, I can do this, I can handle this. Because you can feel the pressure, you can feel the weight on your shoulders if you're squatting or doing something really super heavy, right? But then how come when we are outside that gym environment, let's say our normal life or business life, it's a lot harder to do the right self-talk. We often see the glass being half empty versus half full. I don't know if I can handle this. We don't seem to have the right self-confidence. Why me again? Why is this hard stuff happening to me? So it's the complete opposite. So somehow we are able to talk ourselves into doing that hard set at the gym, but elsewhere we manage to talk ourselves out of that hard stuff. Why? Here's my theory. Every thought is like walking a trail in your brain. You keep walking it, and that initial trail becomes like the default path. And if those thoughts that you started with happen to be negative, all of a sudden your whole thinking model, your mental model, turns out to be pretty pessimistic. And we don't even notice that because those habits and those models are so deep in our DNA that then 10 years, 15 years down the road, you notice how self-destructive they are. What I noticed in myself, this was, I would say, 5 or 6 years ago when I noticed that I had to really make a change. And I've always been an overthinker. And you probably know overthinkers. They never overthink the positives. It's always the negative. We have to somehow find a way to picture that horror scenario, paint the devil on the wall. We're willing to torture ourselves so that we don't have to deal with the unknown, with uncertainty. And that's exactly how I was, okay? I wanted to be in the driver's seat, like hold on to the steering wheel like I'm driving my car right now. So people who want to be in control, they don't like losing in life. And then in order for them to offset that, then they are just like, so they have hard time understanding what that unknown looks like. So they much rather than pick the the worst case scenario, and then they hold on to that because at least they know what's going to happen, okay? And if your body needs physical reps, your mind needs mental reps. When I realized that I had to change, here's what I did. And you can try this at home, use if useful, but this is really what made a big difference in my life. So instead of having difficulty dealing with the unknown, first I had to understand why that happens, because I had my insecurities. I wanted to be in control. I wanted to be in the driver's seat. I was like, okay, I really have a hard time dealing with the unknown. Okay, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Instead of looking at the mid to long-term perspective and view, I was like, okay, so like at the gym, I've been training for 32 years. So all the basic principles, the mental models, I can basically go back to what works in that environment and apply them directly elsewhere in my life. It's like, okay, so if I'm doing a heavy squat set, so to say, or I do get ready for a deadlift, I don't think about tomorrow, let alone what's going to happen 6 months from now. I just try to manage that one set and hit my target. So the same way, elsewhere in my life, why do I keep staring at the midterm goals? So shorten the time span, living in a one-day cycle, get comfortable with that. I don't want to be one of those guys. I mean, to me, being overly positive or, pumping my tires like too much, seems lame. I'm like, I don't see myself driving this car and I'm like, okay, I'm going to crush it today. I'm going to kill. I'm going to make so much money and everything is going to be just so easy. That's not me. So the same way when I get ready for that hard set at the gym, that kind of like pump my tires, the self-talk, my self-talk outside the gym environment is more like, you can handle it. It's not going to be that bad. And live in a one-day cycle, one step at a time. When I shorten the time span, all of a sudden that positive or neutral self-talk gets so much easier. So try if this makes sense. If not, try something else. But I think the key is to have the right tools in the toolbox if you want to make change. Change alone is so super difficult that it's not enough that we know that we have to change. We need to have the right framework and the right tactics and tools in our toolbox so that it becomes possible. And by the way, why am I talking about this? Why did I start my channel a year and a half ago? Because I've gone through a lot personally. A couple of bad breakups. I have started from scratch as an entrepreneur 3 times in different countries, doing different businesses. And I always find myself putting myself in a tough spot. I guess living outside my comfort zone is really my default state. So if I know what works for me, I feel that it's my obligation to pass that knowledge on to everybody else as well. So like I said, these were my Sunday thoughts. So have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. And remember, your mind needs mental reps. Your body needs physical reps. It's no different. Thanks a lot, and I talk to you again in the next video.